Okay, everybody, good afternoon. Hope you guys are doing well. We've got some Seattle Seahawks news on deck here. Not really breaking news anymore. This happened a few hours ago, but we do have some new stuff to talk about. I was at the gym earlier, couldn't make a video about it then. Tight end Elijah Arroyo has been designated to return to practice, so he is off the injured reserve. Elijah Arroyo missed the last 4 games of the season, basically been out a month, and now he is eligible to practice again. And apparently he is on the practice field right now at the VMAC. So great news for him. He hadn't had the most statistically full rookie season to this point, but there are things that he can do for this team that no one else can really do that are valuable. So good to have him back, and hopefully he's able to contribute in the postseason. So happy for him at the very least. All right, guys, let's take a minute so I can tell you guys about Sleeper. I'll tell you a little secret as well. It's more than just a platform for fantasy leagues. This year, millions of users have enjoyed playing fantasy sports on Sleeper, but there's so much more to it. You have live stats, real-time updates of all stats. You have a news feed with lightning-fast updates on players and teams, and a real-time chat where you can engage with other users about plays, performances, games, all kinds of stuff during the sports season. So download Sleeper, experience it for yourself, and don't forget to use my promo code SBN to get up to a $100 match on your first deposit, and pair that with their new promo that will give you a free $20 entry, no deposit needed. So you can use both of those promos. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Currently operational in over 25 states and going. So check out Sleeper today and use those promos. All right, so there are a few different things to consider here. First is just the mechanics of getting a player back off injured reserve. Elijah Arroyo is the 8th player this season that Seattle has activated off of injured reserve. And during the regular season, you get 8 of those. So Elijah Arroyo was our last one if we had missed the playoffs. But of course, we made the playoffs. So we get a couple of extra injured reserve designated for return slots, I guess you could call it. So there is still an opportunity for a couple guys to come back. Now, Greg Bell in this tweet says Seattle has one more slot of a designated to return injured reserve player. And then he corrects himself slightly later, saying that they actually have 2 left. So there's only 2 guys that could possibly be activated from IR now, Chaz Surratt and George Halani. So unless Torrey Horton makes kind of a miraculous recovery here, because remember, McDonald already said that Horton is probably out for the rest of the season. Unless Horton is able to make a miracle comeback here, those are the only 2 guys that can be elevated off of injured reserve at this point. And obviously, Halani does have some value as a special teamer, and he does have some value as a third running back. Chaz Surratt did a little bit of stuff on special teams, so it's not a bad idea to get him back. I certainly wouldn't be against it. But those are the only 2 guys, right? Because if anybody gets hurt from here on out, there won't be enough time for them to go to injured reserve and then return this season. So we're good. We made it. We are going to have everything that we need from those, as it turns out, 10 activation slots. So mechanically, things have worked out barely. We did have quite a few guys go on injured reserve to return this year, but looks like with the exception of Horton, everybody is going to make it back. So that's just the roster mechanics. Then you have the question of Elijah Arroyo himself and what he brings to the table. Obviously, he averaged about 1 catch a game in the games that he played in, and he had the 1 touchdown against Arizona. So he wasn't putting up monster numbers or anything like that. But a couple people have pointed out how much better this team was offensively when he was in the lineup. So Seahawks Nerd here lists it out. Um, with the games where Arroyo is active and playing so far this year, Seattle has been 8th in EPA offensively, 5th in success rate, 5th in dropback EPA, and 1st in dropback success rate. So they have been a great bordering on elite offense with Arroyo in the lineup. And ever since Arroyo got hurt, it's not a huge sample size because he's only missed 4 games, but they've been slightly below average in EPA. They've been bad with their dropback EPA. They've been 11th in success rate, so that's above average, but not really good. And their dropback success rate has been okay, but there's been a big drop off at every level, right? You've gone from 8th to 19th in EPA, 5th to 22nd in dropback EPA. Clearly, there was a negative effect to losing Elijah Arroyo. So, could there be an impact here with Arroyo beyond his statistics? Sure. He is our most athletic tight end by a pretty good margin. AJ Barner's not really a great athlete. He's a great football player, but Arroyo brings some playmaking ability that Barner doesn't necessarily have. So I could see a scenario where Arroyo's presence on the field helps this team a lot. Now, the question is, do you lose something in the run game if you have Arroyo on the field a lot because he's not a very good blocker? Would you rather have Saubert or Collar up out there to run block as opposed to Arroyo? That's a little bit harder to determine, but it's not a bad problem to have because clearly he's adding something. There's enough of a sample size here to where I feel like we can say that Arroyo was making this team at least somewhat better just with his presence. And it makes sense, right? I don't think he's as excuse me, frog in my throat. I don't think he's as fast or as athletic as some people hype him up to be, but he is definitely faster and more athletic than AJ Barner and Eric Saubert, and he does threaten defenses in a way that those guys do not. So there is something here, and it's good to have Arroyo back. That's really all I can say about that. We did have one other thing happen earlier today, though. Not a huge surprise, but Klint Kubiak is now getting head coaching interest from the Ravens as well. So there are now officially 5 teams in on the Klint Kubiak for head coaching sweepstakes. So every team that requests Klint Kubiak for an interview, because right now there are 5, and I anticipate there will be at least 1 or 2 more. Unfortunately, it just increases the chances that he will not be here next year. If this many teams like him, then there's a very good chance that pretty much any team that needs a head coach likes him, and therefore there's a pretty good chance that somebody is going to decide they want him more than anyone else they can get. So, Klint Kubiak, if he wants it, it seems like it's there for him. I will say the Ravens are kind of a weird fit for me because I don't think Lamar Jackson would do very well in the Klint Kubiak offense, but maybe there's some plan to have Klint there just as a head coach and to have somebody else run the offense. I don't know. That's a little bit funky to me. I don't really get that one. I would understand Kubiak in a lot of places, but Kubiak in Baltimore is a little bit questionable to me. All right, so that's all I got for this video. Elijah Arroyo is back on the practice field. One note, for whatever it's worth, this is no guarantee that he'll be able to play in the divisional round, because remember, when you come off injured reserve to practice, you get that 3-week window where you don't have to be activated to the roster yet. So it is feasible that he ends up taking that 3-week window before he can get back out there. I don't think he will, though, because he was only out for 1 month. I think the odds are pretty good that he'll play in the divisional round. All right, I'll see you guys later. Go Hawks. Let me know what you think. Be on Twitch later, and everybody have a great rest of your day.